How is everyone enjoying Reddit while Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp are all down? I thought my Wi-Fi was stupid. I thought my internet was the problem. Turns out the universe is just sending me a sign to stop mindlessly scrolling through someone else's timeline. I was wondering why I kept seeing the same 5 posts on Facebook LMFAO. I was wondering why my wife was talking to me more. As long as I have something to scroll endlessly with ads and strong opinions, I feel alive. Well, I work for T-Mobile as tech support, so my entire day has basically been "yeah, that's not us, and it's not your fault," but seeing a little more activity on Reddit is nice. LOL. Didn't know they were down, but that explains why my friend stopped replying all of a sudden. I hope. Chris Rock is performing a stand-up gig tonight in Boston, his first appearance since the Oscars. If you were Chris, what would be the first joke you'd tell, assuming you'd want to acknowledge Will Smith's slap? Now, before we start, does anyone here have a wife with a medical condition that I need to be aware of? So how many of you got your tickets in the last 3 days? So, I guess you've all heard that G.I. Jane 2 probably isn't happening. Well, after my busy schedule of producing Will's biggest hit in years, I was able to make it here tonight. Entering the stage wearing a neck support. I'd be like, y'all are never gonna guess what happened to me the other day. Someone said he should get a helmet and a neck support. I think this would have been the first part of the joke, and then he should have said, "I brought this because my next joke is about Shaquille O'Neal's wife." Edit. Wow, this blew up. Thank you so much for the awards. Publicly thank Will Smith for all the extra ticket sales. Have you ever been drunk or high and came up with this truly amazing idea, but then became sober and realized it wasn't as amazing as you thought it was? If so, what was the idea? Turn signals on grocery carts. I made a soup sandwich while really high before. The soup obviously just destroyed the bread's integrity and just fell out the sandwich. That was the first time in my life I realized just how dumb I am. King Kong but with a giraffe. Okay, hear me out. Go to your local bar and get plastered. Then go to Lens Crafters and get your eyes checked. They will fix your double and blurry vision and give you a pair of glasses. So when you get drunk again, you can put on your, wait for it, drunk goggles trademark. I thought it would be practical if you would have a tag with your address written on it attached to your keys, so if you ever lost them they can be sent back. Seemed brilliant to me. Thieves might enjoy this idea as well. Asterisk edit. Thank you for the awards, kind strangers. Once, while thoroughly drunk, I ordered a pizza and it arrived overcooked. Crust was like dried asphalt and the toppings blackened and singed. So I pitched the idea to my other drunk buddies that pizza places should let their customers control the pizza ovens through the internet so we can decide when it's done. Which then lead to an entire design your own pizza machine/website combo, where one could control exactly how much of each ingredient to add using robotic arms, and you could watch it cook live through an oven cam. Seemed brilliant at the time. When a football match goes into extra time, they should add a second ball. If it gets to halftime without anyone scoring, they add a third ball. I'm actually not sure this idea is a bad one. Serious therapists, what is something people are afraid to tell you because they think it's weird, but that you've actually heard a lot of times before? Attention! Serious, tag notice jokes, puns, and off-topic comments are not permitted in any comment, parent or child. Parent comments that aren't from the target group will be removed, along with their child replies. Report comments that violate these rules. Posts that have few relevant answers within the first hour, and posts that are not appropriate for the serious tag will be removed. Consider doing an AMA request instead. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. I work in an older adult service for people with dementia and mental health problems. I see a lot of family members/carers feeling ashamed of the fact that they are finding it incredibly difficult to care for someone that has dementia or a chronic mental health problem. Carer burnout is a real issue, and people need to know that it's not easy to see someone you love struggling every day, or slowly fading away month by month. Carers and family members desperately need time for themselves, and need to know that it's okay to feel the way that they do. No one is superhuman, and we all have our own needs. It's why we have therapy groups for carers. It's okay to struggle to look after someone, and you should in no way feel ashamed of having those feelings. Edit. I am overwhelmed in the best way by all the people sharing their stories and relating to this. You are all amazing, and I'm sorry I can't reply to all of your comments. Stay blessed. Folded hands, medium skin tone. Unwanted intrusive thoughts are normal and do not mean you are a bad person. Yes, even intrusions of sexual/religious/moral themes. By definition, these are thoughts that are unwanted. They go against your own values and highlight what you don't want to do. For example, a religious person having unwanted blasphemous images pop into their mind, or a new parent having unwanted sexual thoughts about their new baby. However normal these thoughts are, over 90% of the population, the moral nature of these thoughts mean that often people experience a lot of shame and take many years before they first tell someone about them. Edit. Because this is getting more visibility that I realized, the occurrence of these thoughts/images/urges are normal. The best way to manage them is to accept that they are a normal, albeit unpleasant, brain process, and a sign of the opposite of who you are and are therefore unlikely to ever do. Let the thought run its course in the background while you bring your attention back to, insert something you can see/feel/hear/taste/touch. I usually say something like okay mind. Thanks for that mind. I'm going to get back to washing the dishes and the sound/sensation of the water while you ponder all the nasties. Carry on. I literally say it to myself with a slightly amused tone. BC, I am always genuinely amused at all the wild stuff my brain can produce. That they hear voices. I found that a lot of people aren't familiar with their own internal dialogue or self-talk, and that this is typically normal internal processing. A lot of people think that they are hearing voices and hallucinating. There are some pretty simple questions we can ask to determine if it's hallucinating or just internal dialogue, and most often it's the latter. Edit. I want to clarify that not everyone has an internal voice. Some have none at all, some have more of a system of thoughts that aren't verbal feelings or images. That's normal too. Edit 2, thank you for the awards, I don't think I've ever had feedback like that. Phew. Edit 3, I am really happy to answer questions and dispense general wellness suggestions here, but please keep in mind none of my comments etc. should be taken as a substitute for assessment, screening, diagnosis, or treatment. That needs to be done by someone attending specifically to you who can gather the necessary information that I cannot and will not do via Reddit. Recurring intrusive thoughts about harming others. Can be hurting/killing someone or sexual fantasies about children or relatives. Usually people take a while to admit those. The reality is that if you are having them frequently you aren't dangerous. You probably have OCD and are terrified that you might be dangerous. Clients become quite fearful of admitting that they weren't successful since the last time they had a session. This could include not succeeding in using a coping skill that they're learning about, or not being able to complete a homework assignment I gave them. Humans aren't robots and therapy is a lot of work. That being said, I don't expect people to be perfect as they start to work on themselves in a positive way. It takes time to really commit to change, especially in relation to trauma or conflicted views that an individual holds. I feel as if the client doesn't want to let me down as their therapist, but these failure events are just as important to talk about as successful moments. I do a lot of trauma work. Many people who have experienced molestation or sexual assault feel ashamed and confused because their bodies responded. Having an erection/lubrication or even an orgasm does not mean you wanted the sexual contact, and it is still assault. Clients often hold a lot of shame and confusion about this. They wonder if it means they wanted it or if there is something wrong with them. It is a tough thing to work through because of this. Assault is assault. Sometimes human bodies respond to sexual touch even when we don't want that touch. Edited to say, wow. Thanks for the awards and likes. I hope that anyone reading this who is struggling with feeling weird about their reactions to rape/assault/unwanted touch feels reassured. I also hope you find a good therapist or a good friend to talk to about this. It is one part of your life story, but it isn't the story of you. You get to craft the narrative of your life. Maybe this is a chapter in that story, but it is not the whole thing. Trauma is a thing we experience, it doesn't get to define who we are. Psychologist in the US. To name a few: compulsive masturbation, fears of being a pedophile/rapist. This is a common OCD fear, hoarding, sexual performance difficulties, history of sexual abuse or sexual assault. Unfortunately, it is very common. Drug use, amount of money spent on various things, having an ASD diagnosis, going back to an abusive relationship/staying in an abusive relationship, grieving years and years after a loss, self-harm of all sorts, wanting to abandon their current lifestyle, for example to have more sex, to escape responsibility or expectations, history of gang violence/crime, their sexuality or asexuality, gender identity, the impact of racism/racial trauma, paranoia, hallucinations, feeling uncomfortable in therapy, not believing in therapy, difficulty trusting a therapist, fear of psychiatric medication, fear of doctors in general. I was surprised to see suicidal ideation on others' responses. Most of my clients seem to talk very openly about suicidal thoughts and urges from the start of therapy, which I think is super healthy. I think that most of the people I've worked with at SI, current or history. As weird as it may seem, I can't imagine what a life without any thoughts about suicide would even look like. At this point, I don't recall a time a patient said something in therapy, and I was shocked or even thought, oh, that's new. And IMO, if you surprise your therapist, that is okay. I wonder if we asked Reddit, what are you afraid to tell anyone, even a therapist, because you think it is weird? How many people would see that they aren't that weird at all? People who quit their jobs on the first day. What was your I'm out of here moment? When the mic